Hey everyone, and happy Friday. During this coronavirus, I've really come to love Fridays. It never really mattered to me before, but now we go into the weekend. I still work, but I work at my own leisure, and I think I look forward to Fridays because at the end of the day, I don't have to do another Zoom call for 2 more days. So even though I might still work. Anyway, today is someone that I wanted to meet really because we share the same last name. My maiden name is Russo, and our guest's last name is Russo. And so I reached out just because of that and thought, oh, maybe we're related somewhere back there. But really, I also wanted to hear about what he was doing in the tech world and how he was bringing it to the forefront here in South Florida. And so today, my guest is the founding executive director and current CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association, which is a nonprofit committed to building South Florida into a tech hub. And that was started in 2015. And Joe Russo, welcome to Recipe for Success.
Hey, Lori, thank you so much for having me. And I would love to talk a little bit about our Italian heritage as well, if we can fit that in. But my father's family is also from the greater Naples area in Italy, ironically enough. And, sadly, my parents were supposed to go to Italy this summer on a trip that, of course, got canceled with everything. But it's always funny when I see another Russo around every now and again. You kind of like do that, like you see it like the sign on the street of your favorite restaurant. You're like, there it is.
Exactly. And there's a lot of Russos floating around in the world, I know. And it's interesting. This month is Hispanic Heritage Month, and I just posted this morning about how our culture, the culture, right, that we grew up in our heritage, plays an important role in shaping us, right, and who we are. And so I love that. And so today I wrote a little bit about my family, my mom's family, which is from Spain. And we were actually supposed to go to Spain this summer, to Barcelona. And so, bummer, but we're going to Marco Island instead. I'm not sure that's
there you go.
But anyway, I think for our audience and for me too, I would really love to understand the goal and the mission of the Palm Beach Tech Association. There's other organizations, I'm sure, and I can think of a couple across South Florida, right, the Tri-County region, that are focused on technology and helping to bring tech companies here and create a stronger hub. Tell me what's the difference, right? What is Palm Beach Tech Association's focus, and how are you different?
So surprisingly enough, up until a couple months ago, there was no organization operating at a regional level to build South Florida into a tech hub. We have done things regionally before, but our board of directors made a conscious decision to move to a regional organization from just a county perspective. And if you think about it, we were Palm Beach County just alone for 5 years, right? Palm Beach County is a large county. It has 1.5 million people. It's still just a county, which made us one of the smallest tech organizations of the 60 in North America that you can look at by geographic scope. And at the time, there is no regional tech effort with what we do. I'll mention Tech Gateway in a second, but there wasn't anything there. So we made the decision, okay, let's try and support the region, which it takes some time to build up to, because, we need to bring in the right companies and the right leaders and the right folks to collaborate to talk about this at a regional level. And you think about the tri-counties, usually in South Florida, everything is kind of county based, right? You got Palm Beach, you got Broward, you got Miami-Dade, and everybody can kind of operate and be on their own in their own counties because there's enough capacity built up in each. You go from the top and the county commissions and the economic development stuff and this and that and the other thing, and everybody can be very self-sustained. But the tech industry isn't like that. We aren't siloed. How can we work together? How can we collaborate? Does it matter if I hire somebody in Deerfield Beach or Boca Raton? No. So why are we, thinking about arbitrary boundaries, right? So that's how we were starting to think about it. And Palm Beach Tech was started on a whole different scale than we are today. Our board of directors has Fortune 500 executives and vice presidents on it. We have some really great companies that are members that range from startups to the Fortune 500, and we're really, really, really lucky to have that support and, of course, work throughout our region to help out with that. One of the other groups to mention is Tech Gateway. That's an initiative of really an initiative of David Coddington at the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, who's been, I mean, this type of stuff is passion, right? Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to go make a ton of money leading the tech industry today. It's all about mission. We're very mission-driven people. And he's been looking at it more from an economic development perspective. How can we bring companies and how can we bring conferences into South Florida? And that's something that we want as an organization, we support, but what we are is an industry association. So think of it kind of like a chamber of commerce in a model where our members are tech companies, our board members are tech executives, and we're making decisions and having programs that specifically affect and impact the tech industry in our community. So, once you get down to the monotony of who's doing what, who's on first and who's on second, there are a lot of people a lot of organizations, especially in the Miami area, that do this and that. We're the only group regionally right now. And if you can go back 20 years and find other efforts and other initiatives from Internet Coast to the South Florida Technology Alliance to all these things that had happened. But today in this age, and I'll end rant here, we're lucky that we have some good people in this region that are doing good things.
Yeah, no, I agree. So you're a young guy, and we, of course, are working with high school students. Well, we do K through 8, but really focus a lot over the last 4 years with the high school population around career exploration, making sure that they are aware of the jobs in the different industries and all that. And technology, I mean, is just so big. And so many of our young people want to go, build apps and do all of that. Is there any sort of a focus on workforce, on who is the pipeline coming into technology? How do we get kids interested in technology? Is there any of that for your organization?
Yeah, so talent is when you think about any tech industry, any tech organization, the number one thing you got to think about and talk about is talent.
Right.
Everyone's got the same problems. I need to hire people, and we've made that the priority of our organization. And we have a talent committee that's led by two wonderful folks, Mihai Fanaj, who's the vice president of engineering at Modernizing Medicine, which is a health tech company in Boca Raton, and then Mike Conway, who's the CTO at a ad tech company in Delray called Mike Conway. And both of those guys are also involved in different colleges. We have a committee that we're trying to engage and get a lot more engaged with the support of those gentlemen that links in the local colleges and brings in the local higher education and K-12 education groups. But something more specifically to JA, I mean, we were very lucky as an organization to be Junior Achievement of Palm Beach and Treasure Coast's corporate partner of the year last year, in part because of a program that we set up called a Speakers Bureau. We would work with the school district and work with other partners to say, hey, if you need speakers for technology, reach out to us as an organization. We will help place those people with you. And we were able to do some really neat things by putting technology leaders into classrooms. Obviously, now we're just doing that on Zoom. So if you know anybody, you can still go to our website and you can see that. And,
absolutely. Yeah, we're all doing that speaker series. And, for us, we also have JA World. So in 8th grade, our kids get to actually physically come, not this year, but under normal circumstances. And each storefront in Finance Park represents the different industries, marine industry, automotive, construction, and tech industry is certainly one of those that we want to make sure we are working on trying to engage with partners to make sure that we have that represented as well. And you talk about talent, but I'm curious, I always love to hear the story behind somebody else. How did you get into tech? Right? What was it? Did you always know you wanted to have a career in technology? How did you get here?
That's a good question. I wound up, I've always been a technology nerd. I was in 4th grade and I got in trouble for crashing computers and putting them pulling them apart, putting them back together, stuff like that. And when I was doing all this, I was just always the guy who could fix a computer. But in my career, I was doing some things in politics and doing some things in public affairs, but I was always just a tech guy naturally. I didn't go to school for computer science, didn't go to a coding school or anything like that, but I was always passionate about the tech community and the tech industry. So, in 2014, I was looking at, what was our tech community doing here in South Florida and in Palm Beach, realizing there wasn't a lot of cohesion and there wasn't a lot of consistency. And this is in 2014 now, so this is 6 years ago. So that's when the concept of doing a tech organization came prevalent to me. And I simply started the conversation and started research. And there were some people in Palm Beach at the time, Nick Manaki being one of them, who were doing some things in the startup realm and hosted a couple startup weekends that were awesome and amazing. And that's kind of also what got me really engaged and involved there. But, once that research culminated into some paper, and when that paper culminated into conversations, and those conversations culminated into action, that action was building the Palm Beach Tech Association, and, built an organization with some great people and some amazing board members that also gave me an opportunity to lead our tech industry and tech community. And let me tell you, there is no playbook for this type of job. You can say, hey, I lead a nonprofit, or hey, I did it. There's so many unique factors into this role. The thing I would say that is most important is just being mission oriented. Know your mission and follow through as best as you can. And that's what guides me on a daily basis. And that's kind of how I got into this role.
It's so funny. Even when there's a playbook, sometimes some of us aren't really interested in always going by the playbook, right? We want to create outside of that. We want to create new innovation, not stay status quo. So I love when you said that, because to me, that is a freedom to innovate, right? When there's no playbook and you have to create it, the sky is the limit, right? And you can really, decide what that vision is and what that mission is, and then create it as you go. And so I think that's, for me, I know that's something that I love. And you look like you're enjoying it too.
Yeah, I do my best.
Yeah. But you mentioned also getting this started, right? You had to go have a lot of conversations, right, with some leaders in the community to get this going.
Yeah.
What was their reaction? Were there times where they were just like, I don't have time, or I'm not interested, or, and because I think our young people sometimes don't always realize, they see us where we are today, and they don't realize that sometimes we get knocked down, or people don't open the door, or they say no. And what is it, how did you get through those times? Because I'm sure there must have been some of those.
Oh yeah, and they still happen today. And that's the oddity. But I think today is different, because I think there's some confusion in what our organization can do to really help them, and who can help them in a unique way. And this is what happens, I think, when you have a lot of there's a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of white noise in South Florida, and a lot of white noise in the tech industry. And I even for startups, if you go out to Silicon Valley, or I was just out in Boulder, Colorado last week, there's a million and two things, and a million and two people yelling about, hey, this is what we can do. Going back like 5 or 6 years ago, those conversations were very idealistic. Hey, we want to build this thing. Here's this idea. And it was very much, hey, I want to get your opinion. That was the start of the conversation. And basically, I say a lot of smart people made a lot of dumb decisions to talk with me about something that was so just off the wall at the time. But those half-hour conversations turned into hour conversations. The hour conversations turned into 2-hour conversations. And people showed up, and people keep showing up because they believe in the mission. And that's all that I was talking about for the most part. Everything stemmed from that, is let's build South Florida into a tech hub. So if there's one thing I can share, that's just stick to your mission statement, stick to your ideology, stick to what you believe in. And if you do that, other people will follow. Other people will buy into that, especially if it's something they can buy into and be supportive of. And, even today, as we try and build our membership and build our organization and build our capacity to really help people and help these companies and help build a talent pipeline, help build a tech community that's vibrant, help all of these different areas. And I can rant on for an hour about this for sure. We can look at all these things and say, hey, we're not going to win every time. We're not going to win in every case, but the key is we're helping. And at the very core of it, it doesn't matter if we gain every single member working on board, or if we complete every program or objective that we hope to gain, as long as we're doing our job and impacting the tech industry in a positive way every single day.
Yeah, moving it forward. You talked about the members of the organization, and I know we just recently had the chance to be involved with you on your event as well, so thank you. But you talk about your members going out and doing the speaker series and all of that, which to me is a form of, today's form of mentoring, right? And that's obviously important to you. I could hear that when you spoke about it. Who were the mentors in your life? Because I think you understand the importance of you and your members going out and doing it. Who were those people for you that helped to shape you?
So I mean, there's always there are always people that help you out. I mean, I would think today my board chair Michael Fowler is a great guy. He runs technology over at FPL as their VP of IT. And I'm really lucky because I'm 30 years old and I started this job when I was 25, and I've had a number of people on my board over the last few years that are very cognizant of my position, as am I. I am not a genius. I am not a perfect human being. I make mistakes. I am not and I like to follow a simple rule in life. Don't be the smartest person in the room, because you're probably not learning anything, but two, you're probably thinking really backwards if you think you're ever the smartest person in the room. So I always try and fill the room with people smarter than myself and fill my board with people smarter than myself. And I've leaned on many of those folks as mentors over the last few years to help build the organization. Yeah. And when we think about some of the people that we have in our board, and of course you have a board too, I look at it like, how am I going to build myself from these folks? Working with them, how am I going to learn? And that's been very special to me. Another gentleman, David Bates, who's a co-chair of our board of directors, he was one of the first people to agree to being on our board. And when I left his office, I was like, really? He said yes. Okay, this is really fun. But he's been one of those guys to pick up the phone and say, Joe, you got to think of it like this, or Joe, you got to look at it in this way. And sometimes when you're, let's say, 26 and you haven't done a job like this before and you're learning along the way, you got to lean on people like that are willing to pick up the phone and willing to tell you the blunt truth. And those are the type of people that have really helped me along the way.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because sometimes people are so not willing to ask for help. And you sound like you're very open and you want that help and you want that advice. And I think that is so important, especially for our young people. Joe, if you could define, what does success look like for the organization, in 5 years from now, what would that look like to you? Do you know yet?
I know. I do. Here's the symbol. I wrote an op-ed last year for the Sun Sentinel, and that said, the South Florida tech industry really needs to come together. It needs to come together under, one organization and one hat that is supported by the economic development offices, supported by the economic and business organizations, and supported by the tech industry and tech community as a whole. Why? Because you need to build critical mass in your capacities to be able to build the tech industry. It doesn't matter how many programs there are out there. It doesn't matter how many Zoom calls. It doesn't matter how many events. It does not matter. What matters are, how are you building your workforce development strategy? How are you building your mentorship programs? How are you building things that are really going to have a tangible long-term impact on your tech industry? We talk a lot about venture capital too around this whole startup sphere. How many different venture capitalists are there in South Florida? If you're a startup, where do you go to meet them? What are the pitch competitions you go to? Think about all of the stagnation and all of the silos that are really out there, and there's a lot. And let me tell you, it's going to keep happening in that way when we think about, how can I do this organization for me? How can I do this organization for us? It's got to be, how can we build everything together? And I've even told my board of directors before, at the end of the day, this organization is not successful because I am the CEO. It's successful after I leave, because if it's sustainable, then I've done something good. But at the same time, in the long run, I know that I'm not going to be here forever. I mean, that's
right.
The world does not work that way.
Based on the statistics, actually, you're there longer than most young people. So
yeah, but when we were thinking about it, I know that there's something we need to do, and my mission and my goal is to get us to that point, regardless if I'm in my chair or not. And that's a big thing. I think that a lot of people need to think about and look at, is how do we as leaders achieve our goals aside from ourselves? Right. And that's a tough thing to think about.
I have a producer. This is my son, Patrick. He makes an appearance on every show. All right, go do your exercise.
Hi.
All right. Hi there. Go do your exercise. He's about to get on the treadmill, but
love you.
I love you too, buddy. Thank you. I should just put him on as a co-host, I think, probably, because it's inevitable he's going to make that. In 20 minutes. So, but anyway, I think that you're so right. I think about that, and I've been with organizations where when I left, right, you see things kind of fall backwards because either and I take that as my responsibility, right? Because I didn't build the team and the foundation to keep that going. So all that hard work sometimes falls backwards before it continues to go forward. And with JA, it's actually been one of the things that I've really been focused on for the last 5 years, is how do I make sure that I build a team and an organization that when I leave, they continue to thrive.
Yeah.
And I think that's our legacy, right? Is to make sure that we do that. That's our legacy with the organization.
Yeah, and it's odd because I see it the other way, and I see some nonprofit leaders that aim to make themselves indispensable in organizations, and that's backwards.
Wow.
You need to make yourself. You need to make yourself somebody that can lead an organization to a point of stability. So after you leave, there is somebody great to take your place and then take it to the next level. We can't think that we ourselves achieve everything in the world. We have to humble ourselves, and we have to realize that we are all imperfect, and we all have our abilities to learn and to lead. And the next step is going to be better than the last in every occasion.
Yeah. You mentioned on one thing that I don't want to let go by, and that was, you talked about the collaboration. We truly need to work together. And I often say, and I'm not sure that it's a popular thing that I say, and I know sometimes people take offense to it maybe, but I don't mean it that way. Sometimes I feel that we are competing, not collaborating, at least in the nonprofit world, right?
Yeah.
We at JA are, as far as I know, the only organization that is focused on the 3 core pillars of entrepreneurship, workforce readiness, and financial literacy. There are organizations that do pieces of it in their other programs. There are organizations that focus on one, but what we are amazingly good at is building the curriculum and the interactive programs around workforce development. I'll get it for you in a minute, honey, as soon as I'm done. And then, so use our expertise, right? And put that into what you do best, and let's bring all of that together versus trying to compete and be things, right, that may not be our core focus. And so I am so with you on that one. And I truly hope that you guys do get it to a point where you bring it all together, because I agree with you. Sometimes we're so fragmented and it's to our own detriment. But so many ingredients make up who we are and what makes us successful. For me, so much a part of, I think, my success, or at least however you define that, is passion, right? I'm so passionate about what we do as a parent, as a business person, as an employer. And so my question to you, I always, you talked about some of your ingredients, and I love the one that I often love the most is surround yourself with smart people. I always kid around. I belong to Vistage, and I say, I am the stupidest one in this group. And they laugh and they go, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. But I love that I'm the stupidest one in this group. Like, I learned something at every meeting from all of you, and that's a great place. And being humble enough and being wise enough sometimes to admit that is a good thing. So I love that about you. I always ask everybody before we close, all of those ingredients you talked about, mentoring, building sustainable companies, that passion, staying focused on your mission, right? All of that, starting conversations, not being afraid to have them. All of that, what is your, Joe Russo's, main ingredient to success?
I would say passion. And passion. I mentioned mission a second ago, so maybe passion for your mission. You're not going to be able to do good at anything in life without a little bit of fire in your belly, And having a passion for something is so important, because you're going to be dedicated and you're going to be pushed yourself every single day. You don't want to have somebody else push you into something. You don't want to have somebody, wake up in the morning and say, you got to go do this. You want to do that for yourself, and you want to wake up and do a job because it's what you like to do. So, I'm passionate about the tech industry. I'm passionate about South Florida. I'm passionate about our state. I want to see tech thrive in Florida. And, so many people are heads down in their companies doing what they do best. I'm trying to work with these guys and work with these girls and these women and these amazing people on a daily basis to try and do something that a lot of other people don't see. I'm looking at it from a different perspective, right? I'm very macro about it, but I'm passionate about it. And that's what I've been doing over the past 5.5 years. And it's done very well for our organization and our members. And me personally, I've grown so much from it. And just by following that. And if I would just give anybody a lesson learned here, find what you're passionate about, because I didn't know until I kind of started stumbling into this idea and this role that here's an option that I had in front of me, and we had a lot of great success from it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There's never a day that I wake up that I'm not just like so excited about what we're going to do today and how we're going to get there and all of that. And so I agree with you. It is at our very core. And maybe that's our Italian blood. I don't know, because we've got a lot of passion, right, in the Italian heritage. But I want to thank you for sharing that. I think, I love our young people. I am going to be calling on you for our young people, because I think that's the one area that we need to make sure, right? No matter what industry they go into, tech is going to be important for them. And so I think we need to make sure that we're exposing them to the careers, to the jobs, and to the work that you're doing. So I want to say thank you so much for being here. Next time we get together, hopefully maybe some of this will pass, and we'll have an Italian lunch or something. So that would be great. And
totally.
Continuing to work with you, and I want to hear in 5 years, right, what you've done. Actually, we won't wait that long. I'm hopefully, maybe I'll be retired in 5 years or something. I don't know, but that's a good dream. But I don't. But no, I want to continue. I know we're going to stay in touch and we're going to work together, and so I'm really excited for what you're going to accomplish together in our South Florida region. So I'm rooting for that.
Yeah, same here, and we'll get raviolis next time as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love raviolis. Well, thank you, Joe, for being with us today. Thanks for everyone for watching this morning. And we hope that you enjoyed hearing about Joe's ingredients to success. And of course, his main ingredient, a passion for your mission, no matter what that is. And so have an amazing day and let's get cooking.
All right. Talk to you later,
Thanks,
Lori.
Joe.
Thank you very much.
Bye.